Today's episode is presented by A24's Undertone, in theaters on March 13th. This is the scariest movie you'll ever hear. It follows the host of a popular paranormal podcast who becomes haunted by terrifying recordings mysteriously sent her way. The feature debut of writer-director Ian Dawson has left critics raving. Bloody Disgusting's Joe Lipsett wrote in his 4.5 skull review, "I can't remember the last time a movie made every hair on my body stand up, but Undertone got me good." Hear for yourself and experience Undertone in theaters Friday the 13th. Get tickets now.
I hate to say it, but his parents have been feeling unwell as of late, and I'm staying with them to help take care of Alex.
Oh, so that's serious.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking, sounds disgusting. Let's go. We're talking, nothing, just practicing. And we're talking Shelly. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking one banger of a disco theme song.
Oh my god, this theme song, you messaged me before I had started watching it, and I had no idea what you were referring to. And then when I hit play, it's like, oh yeah, groove a little.
It was so funny because everyone, we were discussing Friday the 13th Part 3 or Part 3D, depending on how you're watching this. But so like when I was a kid, Joe, you know, my parents would always buy me these like horror movie theme song, like CDs that were at like, parties, like a Halloween store. So they were all like, they weren't, it was covers, you know, and they were, you could tell they weren't the original recordings. And I remember playing the Friday the 13th theme, and I was like, what is this? Because they used the disco theme. They didn't do the and I knew that's what it was. So I was like, I think someone on this disc messed up, because this is not.
They overlaid it with disco. What's going on?
When I finally saw Friday the 13th Part 3, I was like, oh,
it's all becoming clear. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. This is very funky. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah. Well, the song or the movie?
The song. The movie is fine. It's funny, in our outro last week, you said, well, come back next week to find out whether Joe has actually seen this movie or not. And I can confirm, I still don't know. I very firmly remembered parts of this, but there were whole other sections where I just went, who? What is going on?
I will not lie. I mean, I actually do quite like 3. This does rank in the top half of the franchise for me. However, like even watching it, I was like, yeah, I remember this, but I thought this scene was in 2 or this scene was in 4. Like if you watch 1 through 4, one after the other, like honestly, like if you can distinguish between them, that's really good.
I think you're probably recognizing particular actors, and you know for sure that they are in Part 2 or Part 3 or something like that. But yeah, this one, aside from the 3D gimmick, it doesn't have a lot that can distinguish it. And also not helping things are the fact that, like 2, we basically just crib a full 10 minutes from the previous film to open this one.
Oh my God. And you pointed this out to me. You were like, well, you know, we didn't have VHS really at the time. It wasn't a booming market yet. And so we had to remind people about what happened in that last film because they couldn't just pop in their VHS and watch it. And that makes total sense. But when this movie is like 90 minutes long, it's like, you're just padding the runtime at this point.
100% padding the runtime. And also I said that again before I'd actually hit play, and we do this entire, basically climax recap of Part 2. And yes, folks, I will acknowledge we did this at the beginning of Part 2 as well. We just did the whole Pamela Voorhees on the beach head decapitation thing, but that felt like at least it fed into the climax of Part 2, whereas I would argue all of this stuff that opens
Well,
part 3, it doesn't really inform what's to come.
I think it works in part 2 because the recap, the ending of part 1, leads into the opening of part 2 where we kill that final girl from the first movie. But this, we're seeing what happened to Jenny, but like Jenny's not in this movie. So
yeah. Also, how dare you? That girl, that final girl, you're talking about Alice. Say her name.
Alice. Okay. She's never one of my favorites. She's fine. She's very
so
passive.
Rude.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Ginny's not in this, so I don't know exactly why we needed this, except to pad the runtime.
I guess it's in case you wanted to know where Jason was, but even then, I'm just like, y'all, come on.
Yeah, it's a bit forced, but also, hello, welcome back to Friday the 13th. Also, happy Friday the 13th, everybody. This is the second of 3 this year.
Yes, and we couldn't just fill the 3 of them with Friday the 13th films, so this is the one you get.
Exactly. Don't go expecting another one, you greedy bastards.
Yeah, but okay. So there actually was a bit more. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised by the production history of a Friday the 13th film, but like, I would say it was more interesting to me because of the 3D gimmick.
Oh, sure. Yes. Because as much as I think we take it for granted from a contemporary perspective, it was not easy to make a 3D film.
Not at all. And granted, I don't think I have seen this movie in 3D. I do have a 3D option on my disc, but it didn't come with glasses, so I need like a 3D TV for it.
So I literally thought that because I said, you know what? Hey, maybe I'll watch this in 3D so I can fucking appreciate it and understand all the hard work that went into it. Hey, Shout Factory, where are my fucking 3D glasses?
Well, it's because those modern 3D TVs, they just give you those plastic ones with batteries that you put on, and that's what you're supposed to be using. But if you don't have a 3D TV, then...
Yeah, which I do not.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, I mean... I went to Letterboxd to look at some reviews for this from people. And, people that are into the franchise do seem to really like this. But I saw several reviews that were like, it goes up a whole star when you watch it in 3D.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Because there is way more 3D gimmicks than I would have expected. I thought for sure we were going to do a couple of, throw something at the camera. There you go.
Yeah.
Mission fulfilled. But I would say that there's a 3D gag probably every, what do you think? Like 5 to 7 minutes?
Yeah, at least. And I would wager, too, there's probably others that were missing because they're maybe more subtle. You would catch them in 3D, but not watching.
It's not always a
2D.
Wallet or an apple coming at us.
Yeah, exactly. Or an eyeball.
I have thoughts about that.
Yeah. Okay, well, so how did we get here, right? The second one made a bunch of money. So
the story of Friday the 13th. Previous one made money. We brushed out the next one.
But part 2 actually didn't make as much money as I remembered, even though, yes, we have covered part 2, everyone. Go listen to a previous episode, because that is one of my favorites. I think it is the only one that is legitimately scary in the franchise.
That Ginny chase scene, good stuff.
But I'm going to say, though, I mean, I don't...
The end of this movie, also good stuff.
It's a really long chase scene, and I was kind of like, why don't we talk about... Maybe it's because it's like the whole climax of the movie, and it's the final girl, but it's like, this is a chase scene.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
But yeah, so following the success of 1981's Friday Part 2, a sequel was, inevitable. So just to provide some quick numbers, though. So the first film earned $40 million domestically on a budget of $500,000, making it the 18th highest grossing film of 1980. The only other film released by Paramount that was more profitable in 1980 was Airplane.
Oh, okay. Very different films.
Yes. Part 2, though, earned $21.7 million domestically against a budget of $1.25 million. So it only sold 53% of the original film's tickets, but that's also partly because 1981 saw a lot of other horror competition in films like,
here we go. You going to give us a list?
Yeah, but Omen 3, The Final Conflict. I don't really know if that's a lot of competition for Friday the 13th, but whatever.
Right.
Evil Dead, The Howling, My Bloody Valentine, Happy Birthday to Me, Graduation Day, The Burning, and Halloween 2.
Right.
So,
yes.
Part 2 came out May 1st, 1981. The next Friday the 13th on the calendar, like the actual date, was in November of 81. So they clearly weren't going to make that.
Right.
The next one was August 13th of 1982. So that was the targeted release date for Part 3.
Okay. Makes sense as well. It's a summer release.
Yeah, why not? Now, the original plan at director Steve Miner's request. Now, Miner was a production assistant on the first film, and he directed Part 2, returning to direct Part 3.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
His request was to take Jenny from Part 2 and have her be in a sanitarium where the murders started occurring again, to which I say... Well,
Halloween 2.
Halloween 2, yeah. So if you had have done that, that would have, like, it would have looked bad because this comes out the same year, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the year after Halloween 2. But they decided that wouldn't be what fans wanted. But, okay, also, they couldn't get Amy Steele back.
I was going to say, as much as we wanted to bring her back, she did not want to come back.
And she said no. And, you know, there were a couple of different reasons. But in her interview on, I want to say, the Crystal Lake Memories documentary, she said no because, in her words, she thought she was going to go on to do all of these other things. But, you know, they didn't really work out the way she was wanting. And she regrets it. And she wishes she would have just done it and had a great time.
Okay.
To which I say, everyone, and, you know, I get it, right? In the early 80s, you do a horror movie, you get your kind of foot in the business, and you're like, well, yeah, I don't want to keep doing horror films because that's going to pigeonhole me, typecast me, and horror doesn't have, it wasn't as highly regarded as it is nowadays.
It's a bad reputation. We could just say it. Yeah.
For sure. But it's one of those things that where, again, given, like, no one could have predicted this, but, like, the popularity of, like, cons and conventions and things like that, where it's like, yeah, a lot of these people that did their one horror movie and didn't make it anywhere else, they're making all their money now from these cons.
That's true. I mean, at least we're a genre that has longevity to it.
Very much so. Now, for writing the story, and I'm putting story in quotation marks, because I don't really think part 3 has a story. They offered the job to part 2 screenwriter Ron Kurz, but he turned it down because he didn't want to also be known as the Friday the 13th guy. And a quick glance at his filmography shows that he didn't really do much outside of this franchise.
So, same situation. Maybe don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah. So, everyone, like, if you're in a franchise, if you get a leg into a franchise and you have an opportunity to continue with that franchise, honestly, just
soak it up, baby.
Just stay with it until it is driven into the ground because it's a paycheck.
Suck it dry. Suck it dry. Get those residuals.
To replace this guy, they turned to script supervisor and the continuity department's Martin Katroser and his wife, Carol Watson. And okay, does the name Martin Katroser ring a bell to you at all, Joe? It's okay if it doesn't, because this is going to be a really kind of a deep cut.
I mean, no. I think if you weren't prodding me, I would probably instinctively say no. Okay.
Do you remember in Kill Bill Volume 2, whenever we learn Beatrix's, Uma Thurman's character's last name, Kiddo, and we do that cutaway to the classroom and we're doing a roll call?
Yeah.
The first name called is Marty Katroser, and I was like, oh, that sounds like the same person. So I looked it up. Martin Katroser, who was the script supervisor and continuity department on the part 2, and he co-wrote part 3, he was in the continuity department for Kill Bill.
Oh, fun. What a weird connection.
I know! So yeah, Marty Katroser from Kill Bill Volume 2, same one that wrote Friday the 13th Part 3.
Present.
Yes, present. Now, rather than deal with producer Frank Mancuso Sr., who had helped shepherd the first 2 films, the Boston-based investors put their faith into his son, Frank Mancuso Jr., who was an associate producer on Part 2, but basically took things over with this franchise, starting with Part 3.
I was going to say, he's the one that we don't like anymore, right? Because it's part of the reason that the rights have been held up.
Maybe. Honestly, Joe, I'm not going to lie. Every time
I pieced out on the rights litigation thing.
Yeah, and every time I try to read about it, I'm like, oh, I don't understand any of this. So I'm like, you know what? It's a rights issue. I'm just going to nip that in the bud. There you go.
Yeah, we could just say it there. But okay, so we'll move on. Yeah. Frank Mancuso Jr., he inherits this franchise.
Although now that you say it, I think it's actually Cunningham who's the problem with all the rights. But nevertheless.
Oh, it could be.
Nevertheless, Mancuso was being told that the screenplay needed more work before a green light could take place from these Boston investors. And so they brought in uncredited screenwriter Petru Popescu, who injected the screenplay with, and I quote, more horror and menace. And I looked Popescu up, and he didn't really have any recognizable credits to his name, so I guess this was just like a guy that they knew.
It was a gig. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, hey, maybe they had writing samples, and they were like, oh yeah, he's good at writing horror stories. I don't know.
Sure. Or a friend of a friend from the Boston area. Mm-hmm. Also, love that name.
Oh, I know. Petru Popescu. I know. Now, they realized they needed a new hook and that they couldn't copy the exact same formula. I was like, don't you, though?
No shade, everybody, but this movie, as we said, has a 3D gimmick. And a story.
But, like, the formula, like, yeah, you're just doing it. It's the same fucking thing. But anyway, Mancuso realized that 3D had been reborn after its boom in the 50s with sci-fi and horror films. So he looked at all of the franchises Paramount had to see which one would be the best fit for 3D. And he was like, oh, done. Friday the 13th. Like, right there. Like, that's going to be the one. Also, how helpful that it's the third entry.
There we go. It does feel like a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah. Now, 3D supervisor Martin J. Sadoff wanted to take a new approach to shooting the 3D. So he got together with Steve Miner and Frank Mancuso Jr. in Toronto, using the 3D movies of the 50s as a reference point. And Mancuso Jr. loved this idea, opting to shoot the movie using a device called a Luma crane, which permitted the camera to do all kinds of incredible moves. And I think, like, this movie opens, well, I'm sorry, once you get past the part 2 recap, this movie opens with a crane shot that I don't think we had anything like that in the first 2 films.
No, and if you watch even just the featurette on the disc, it talks about how they really wanted to keep the camera mobile, on the move, and so on. And I do think if you pay attention, you can see that. The camera is never just still.
Yeah, which again, though, when you're doing the 3D thing, it's like, okay, I feel like it's making it harder for you to do this, but sure, why not? But yeah, this worked for Steve Miner because he wanted to have the camera like always be moving. And they decided, okay, here's the technical stuff. They were going to be working with an Aeroflex BL camera, a new camera which had just come out at the time, which was it was very tiny and handheld. And they were basically coming up with a system where they could use that with the crane and maintain this look of free motion. You know, it would,
right.
There you go. That's their wording on this. Now,
okay.
This crane, however, sounds like the shark from Jaws.
Breaks all the time is what I'm hearing.
It was infamous for being a huge pain in the ass, malfunctioning, and at one point tipping over and off the tracks completely, derailing a day's worth of shooting.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Because this was a 3D process that no one had ever done before, all of the focus was on getting the shots just right, with almost no care or direction going towards the actors.
Yeah, that makes for a great film.
Yeah, and I feel like we've discussed something before too, where it's like, oh, this director was so particular. It was more about, maybe it's a Fincher film, like with Gone Girl or something, where it was like, yeah, we just have to keep hitting our marks and like that. But granted, I think Fincher might be better at also focusing on the performance in these technical moments.
Can I tell you what it is?
Yeah, what is it?
It's Hitchcock and Rope.
Yes!
Which
also
God. Had a similarly cumbersome camera to deal with.
God, imagine if that was in 3D too.
Ooh. Hitch in 3D, it would be bad. He would just be so angry at everybody all the time.
But these actors all just, like, in all these interviews, they're just like, yeah, it didn't matter what we did. Like, it didn't matter how our line reading was. All that matters, we were in these exact placements we were supposed to be and, you know, hitting our marks right on the dot. If we missed any of this, then the 3D effect wouldn't work and we'd have to do the take again. So there was a lot of just waiting around and redoing the same takes over and over and over again. Like, it sounds very boring.
It does sound very boring. I mean, we should note that also sounds like regular filming, but just taken to a new level. Because, you know, you and I have both been on film sets, and it's a lot of, okay, set up, we're going to take it 50 more times. Well, maybe not that often. Yeah. Unless you're Hitchcock.
Oh, or this movie, or David Fincher. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even just the shooting of the take. Like the camera setups usually took hours and hours to light and create. And the 3D effects for objects took a lot of time. Like, again, they had to be in this exact spot in front of the camera. So, like, the fire poker 3D effect took apparently 32 takes. Shelly throwing his wallet at the camera in the convenience store seemed to have taken the most. I don't have an exact number of takes for you, but it was because he had to throw this wallet and get the arc just right, so that way when the wallet was a certain distance away from the camera, it was at a certain point. But because it's in the air, you can't like put a marker in the air. You can't manipulate
it or anything.
Exactly. And so it just sounds frustrating. Even like, I mean, most of these kids were not professional actors, but like still, if you were an actor's actor, this would probably not be a good experience for you.
No, because as you said, it's really not about their performance. It's about hitting a mark and often involving inanimate objects.
Mm-hmm. Now, the casting was pretty basic, with Dana Kimmel, who plays Chris, being the big get for the film, because she had was about to star in a slasher movie called Sweet 16 that apparently hadn't come out yet, but one of these Boston producers had seen a cut of the film and really liked her and wanted her for the part. So
she's so hot right now.
Yeah, exactly. Now, all of the other actors, I love this, were cast for their looks and not their acting abilities.
That's a bit rude, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, hey, we have an idea of what this character looks like, so the first person to walk through that door who matches this description, they're getting the part.
Gets the part, yeah. I mean, presumably they all had some level of acting ability. That's why they go out for the movie. It's not just, oh, I want to be in a movie.
Yeah, I think it's a thing too with some of these movies. And look, I'm not going to accuse these movies of being high art or even like quality cinema, but I think there's a naturalism to a lot of the performances from the kids, especially in these early movies where it's kind of like, oh, I don't even view it as bad acting. It just feels like they're not.
It feels like regular people.
Exactly that.
Truthfully, when you said that, I thought about this movie, and I don't think there's necessarily bad performances or even unbelievable ones. There's characters I don't care for quite as much, but I don't think that that's an acting issue. I think that's a scripting problem.
I agree, 100%. But I will say, Tracy Savage, who plays Debbie, would go on to be a news reporter, making a name for herself covering the O.J. Simpson trial in the 90s.
Oh, shit. Really? Okay.
Also saw a lot of Letterboxd reviewers saying that Debbie should have been the final girl of this movie, but we can talk about that later.
Well, I was surprised that we killed Debbie, given the revelation.
Yeah. Oh, right. We kill a pregnant girl in this movie.
We kill a pregnant girl.
Yeah. Now, for Jason himself, they wanted to find a more nimble stuntman to play him, since they apparently had issues with the two guys who played him in part 2. Again, y'all go back and listen to the episode, because I'm pretty sure we went over this, but it's been a while, so I don't know. But they went to circus performer Richard Brooker, who says he got no direction from Steve Miner at all, who told him, don't ever come up to me and ask what your motivation was. You don't have motivation. Like, you're running around killing people. That is your job.
I mean, fair. We don't really attribute much in driving need to Jason except kill those campers.
Yeah, I would argue that until Kane Hodder shows up, but I guess maybe it's because he was the first one that was doing like multiple roles as Jason, so fans just latched onto him, but still, even then.
Yeah. We've had this conversation before as well, in terms of, okay, if a stunt person doesn't have any dialogue, how do they imbue that with character, and why do particular people resonate or like them better? And it's something you and I don't have a very strong feeling about.
Yeah, but I will say though, I like that, I don't even know if you can see the circus performer in Jason in this movie, but he does move around a lot, which I mean, like,
does. Yeah. There's a higher degree of athleticism, I would say, in some of these sequences. Yeah.
Now, his makeup took 6 to 7 hours to apply each day. Yeah. It was made up of 11 pieces of prosthetics, and, it was there for when the hockey mask was removed, basically. So,
yeah. Which is, I think, 3 scenes in this film. It's not too much. So that is a long time to be in the makeup chair, but at least you're not doing that every day.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have to have a mask on under the hockey mask, but I don't think it was as extensive as the 11 prosthetics. So makeup effects director Doug White was told that Stan Winston was going to be doing the sculpture of Jason's makeup, and he was going to just do the sculpture and paint it, and that was it.
Okay.
But they still made a mask out of his mold. So the original Stan Winston mask was used for the alternate ending, which was never used. This is the one in which Chris gets killed, but we'll talk about that again in a minute.
Okay.
Basically, though, there are 3 setups for Jason's makeup in this movie. 1, Stan Winston's makeup that's used in the alternate ending. 2, the makeup that's in Chris's flashback sequence, where we see kind of what happened to her all those years. 2 years ago at the camp.
Right.
And then the other one is the final one, where at the end, in the climax of the film, that's actually used, the one we see the most of.
Right. Yes.
Now, when it comes to the infamous hockey mask, because yes, everyone, this is the movie where Jason gets his hockey mask, which...
I mean, sort of. He just has it.
Well, he takes it from Shelly.
Okay.
But we'll talk about it in the plot, but he definitely takes it from Shelly off screen.
That's what I'm saying. It's off screen. It's like there's a moment. I guess I was thinking back to our discussion of the remake and how that movie goes out of its way to have an entire sequence where Jason seemingly considers, should I take this mask? Can this become my defining trait?
But that's the thing, though, right? Like, given how iconic the look of Jason has become with the hockey mask, you would think, oh, wow, him getting the hockey mask must be a big deal, and it's not. It's just it's just there, and so they didn't know what they had on their hands when they pulled this hockey mask out.
Yeah, it's a bit wild.
But the funny thing is, okay, so the reason we lost the potato sack from part 2 is because Frank Mancuso Jr. didn't think it had any substance to it. But at the same time, in these interviews, like, no one knows who picked the hockey mask. But
oh, wow.
Wikipedia tells me, with references to the book Crystal Lake Memories, not the documentary that was based off of it, but the original book, Peter Bracke's book. This is the story. The decision to dress Jason Voorhees in his now signature hockey mask occurred during a lighting check on set. The film's 3D effects supervisor, Martin Sadoff, was a hockey fan and supplied a Detroit Red Wings goaltender mask to Steve Miner. Miner loved the mask, but during test shots found that it was too small. Using a technique called vacuform, makeup effects director Doug White enlarged the mask and created a new mold to work with. After he finished the molds, art director Terry Ballard placed new red triangles on the mask to give it a unique appearance. Holes were also punched into the mask, and the markings were altered, making it different from Sadoff's original template.
And also so we wouldn't get sued by the hockey team.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that was the implied reasoning there. But, I mean, again, it's not really that big of a story, right? Oh, yeah, we needed a mask. We pulled a hockey mask. It was too small. We made it bigger. There you go. End of story.
It doesn't sound that different from Michael Myers, right? Where we basically just took the William Shatner mask, made a few alterations, bing, bang, boom. It becomes instantly iconic.
That's the thing. And it's like, I don't think the movies did this. We did this.
We as fans did this.
Fans, viewers, we made this iconic. The movie just had it
It's
there.
really us. We should take credit for this,
We should just make movies. Yeah, absolutely. Now, filming on the film took place between March and May of 1982, and in a first for the franchise, took place on the West Coast in California rather than on the East Coast.
Fuck New Jersey.
Basically, yes. So filming took place at the Valuzet Movie Ranch in Saugus, California, a neighborhood in Santa Clarita.
Sure.
Yeah, I know. That's all there for you Californians out there.
I was going to say, some people are going to say, hey, I know that place.
Let's go, yeah. Despite the laborious production, and with a production budget of $2.2 million, so this is the highest of the franchise at the time, and double what the second one cost.
Money.
Friday the 13th Part 3 did make its targeted release date of Friday, August 13th, 1982, against fellow newcomer Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, okay. Big movie.
Yeah. Like the previous two entries, it was critically panned, though some critics did appreciate the use of creativity, and even Gene Siskel somewhat lauded the film
Somewhat.
for waiting until the hour mark to get the murder started.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's other murders in the movie, but obviously the last act goes pretty hard. I think to the extent that you and I even exchanged texts that said, oh, wow, once we start killing these kids, we just kill them all.
I checked, y'all. So we start killing the main cast of this movie at the hour mark, and they are all dead by the hour and 12-minute mark.
This movie truly said, fuck them kids.
Yeah. But still, we're looking at a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes based on...
come on.
Well, it's 29 reviews. And again, like...
Only 29? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like, we haven't had a lot of, like, modern reviews come out to, like, add... to up this score, but... Yeah.
Well, we will.
Yeah, we will, yeah. Well, are you giving this a fresh?
Oh, yeah. This is fun.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
I don't think it's the best one. Like, when you said this is in my top half of the franchise, I was like, oh, I don't know. This might be coming in around the midway point for me.
I think it is the midway, but I mean, again, there's 12 of these movies, so it's still like, it might rank 6 out of 12. But yeah, so that's the Rotten Tomatoes score. Letterboxd users have given this a 2.7 out of 5.
Yeah, I gave this a 3.
Yeah, it's a 3. Totally 3. 3 for 3.
Ooh, in 3D.
Yeah. Now, Paramount spent millions of dollars to equip theaters with the technology required to show the 3D film, and I do not know if that amount is factored into the $2.2 million budget.
I feel like no, but that's also a very contemporary perspective, so they might have built that in.
Entirely possible. Now, their investment quickly paid off when Friday the 13th Part 3 managed to knock the year's reigning box office champion, E.T., out of the number 1 spot after spending 9 of its 10 weeks of release in the number 1 spot. And I want to say, it fell to the number 2 spot in its 8th weekend of release, being beaten by the R-rated Dolly Parton-Burt Reynolds musical, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Oh, yes. Which is a movie whose title you would never be able to get greenlit nowadays.
No, never. Also never seen it, but I really want to.
Yeah.
But anyway, so E.T. went back into the number 1 for its 9th weekend, and then boom, 10th, back out to number 2 because of this movie.
Ooh, shit.
So Part 3 had a final U.S. box office gross of $36.7 million. So this was
investment.
A rousing success. It made, 50% more than the second movie did, almost hit what the first movie did.
Yeah.
And because of the success, we got a whole wave of 3D films in the 80s, like Amityville 3D, Metal Storm, The Man Who Wasn't There, Jaws 3D. And this is, Part 3 is one of the most profitable installments of the franchise.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because I often feel like people don't enjoy 3D films. Like, As standalones, maybe, but especially when we do a 3D installment of something, it often feels as though people just go, ugh, no, come on, it's such a gimmick. And yet, they always make fuck tons of money.
Yeah, and I don't know if we were charging extras for tickets for 3D in 1982 like we do nowadays, where it's like, oh, that's a primo ticket. But, I mean, at the same time, you're right. 3D is a gimmick. And I can't think of a better movie to use a gimmick on than one that doesn't really have any substance to it. Like,
sure,
I enjoyed part 3, but there's not a lot here to work with. And so I think that's why you see again, when you watch it in 3D, it goes up a whole star rating because it really is just made for that.
Exactly. It's the preferred format.
And advertisements at the time, after it came out, were referring to part 3 as, and I quote, the best 3D presentation to date, the largest 3D release in history, and the biggest grossing 3D movie of all time.
Sell it if you've got it, folks.
Mm-hmm. Now, just some numbers. So, per Box Office Mojo, as of 2020, Friday the 13th Part 3 stands as the 4th highest grossing film in the franchise, only behind the first one, Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, yeah.
And the 2009 remake.
Okay.
Now, of course, some people might be saying, well, what about inflation? It is the 3rd best-selling in ticket sales with approximately 11.7 million tickets sold, and that is only surpassed by the original with 14.7 million tickets sold, and Freddy vs. Jason with 13.7 million tickets sold.
Yeah, and folks, if you're kind of like, well, wait, why isn't he talking about numbers or like box office gross? It's because typically when you adjust for inflation, it's because we just charge a lot more for tickets, but it doesn't mean that many more people are going to see it. So if you want a true kind of barometer for how successful a film was in terms of butts in seats, then you go tickets sold as opposed to ticket prices, which is what we usually rank box office on.
Exactly. And so honestly, it's kind of wild given that 3, I mean, it doesn't have like the highest reputation in the franchise, but it did sell a ton of tickets, and it is, I mean, because I'm not going to count Freddy vs. Jason as a sequel, like one of these sequels, but like in the original, like 1 through 10, all the way through Jason X, Part 3 is the highest selling sequel in this franchise.
Right. Yeah. The original is always at the top of the list.
Always. Now, Part 3 also stands as the 10th highest grossing R-rated film of 1982 and the 2nd highest grossing horror film of 1982, being only beaten by Poltergeist.
Oh, nobody's going to beat Poltergeist.
No, and that movie made a bunch of money.
I think it was over $100 million.
Yeah, exactly. And, this barely making $40 million, but still.
Yeah.
Now, before I pass this off to you, Part 3 was meant to conclude the quote-unquote trilogy. They wanted this to be a trilogy, but with those box office numbers, it should come as no surprise that Part 4, the final chapter, was released. They took a longer break, actually. So it was April of 1984. So 20 months after this one comes out, we get Part 4. And maybe that's because they truly didn't expect to do a Part 4. Like, maybe that is what it is. But...
And I also think it's super funny that they don't continue to do 3D. It's like, this made us a ton of money. Sure, it was gimmicky, but also just because the movie isn't 3 anymore, it doesn't mean you can't still do 3D because 4 doesn't have a gimmick.
Yeah, exactly that. But Joe, so fun fact. So, final chapter comes out 20 months after Part 3.
Right.
Can you guess how long after Part 4, the final chapter, Part 5, the new beginning, comes out?
Oh, because we've covered No, we haven't covered
No, we
part
haven't.
5.
I don't think you've seen Part 5 back, because that's the one that doesn't have Jason in it.
I've seen parts of it in the same way that I've seen parts of this film before now. I'm going to say it was... I don't think Part 4 did as well, so I'm going to guess it was a longer window. I'm going to say 3 years.
Okay. Final Chapter did not make as much money as Part 3, but it made enough money to say, oh, fuck, we shouldn't kill this franchise. Part 5, A New Beginning, comes out 11 months after the final chapter.
Oh, my God. Okay, so I took it the wrong way, is what you're saying, and we saw /Paranormal Activity this bitch.
100%. So, yeah, I mean, the biggest gap between films until we finish with Part 8, and, it's like forever until Jason Goes to Hell comes out. The biggest gap between films actually was the gap between 3 and 4.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
They really had to reckon with that final chapter.
Yeah, final.
I just love it. Like, literally never name your film Final anything.
Never!
Never.
I mean, because it's a marketing gimmick. If people say, "Oh, it's the last one," they're going to go see it in theaters because we're never going to see one of these again. But y'all, there's always going to be another
There's
one.
always. It's like a good horror movie villain. They always come back for more.
Mm-hmm. But, Joe.
Yes.
What happens in this movie? And I think you can skip the recap of part 2.
Oh, I am 100% skipping the fucking recap. Folks, just go back and listen to the episode.
We just jump right into the disco theme song.
Exactly, yes. I did just want to note, because you said Steve Miner, and I knew we had talked about him before, so I just had to quickly look up his filmography. So obviously, we have talked about him 2 other times. Halloween H2O, we have a commentary on, and also Lake Placid.
I know. Yeah.
And a lot of TV.
A lot of TV. But I will say, I mean, like, to have directed 2 Friday films and a Halloween film, that's pretty
cool.
Yeah,
Kinda
he hasn't done much outside of those things, except for the TV, as you mentioned. But still, put that on my tombstone.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's some decent credits.
Mm-hmm.
Today's episode is presented by A24's Undertone, in theaters on March 13th. This is the scariest movie you'll ever hear. It follows the host of a popular paranormal podcast who becomes haunted by terrifying recordings mysteriously sent her way. The feature debut of writer-director Ian Dawson has left critics raving. Bloody Disgusting's Joe Lipsett wrote in his 4.5 skull review, "I can't remember the last time a movie made every hair on my body stand up, but Undertone got me good." Hear for yourself and experience Undertone in theaters Friday the 13th. Get tickets now.
Okay, let's get into it. So yes, the first 10 minutes of this movie is Friday Part 2, and then we get the extremely funky score over 3D credits.
So the creative force behind this disco theme, which they refer to as the now famous disco theme, was renowned music producer Michael Zager, who shared credit with a fictional band that he named Hot Ice. So it's like literally it's like Harry Manfredini, Michael Zager, and Hot Ice, but Hot Ice doesn't exist.
Yes, but also, can we bring Hot Ice back, because that name slays. I love that.
I love it. But here's the thing. I did not know this because I was just kind of like, yeah, it's a horror movie. Where's it going to play? This theme song did actually play in a lot of discos and gay clubs at the time.
That's who loves this movie. The gays. We love Friday the 13th Part 3.
So while Part 3 does not have any explicit queer content, I'm going to say right now, this disco theme is your explicit queer content.
Theme. There you go. Justified. That's why it's on the list, folks.
Yep.
Definitely not because it's a Friday the 13th and we're just trying to goose the download numbers.
Straight secret.
Who said that? What? Okay, yeah, so we crane in and around what I'm calling a country convenience storm, and there is a storm brewing. Trace, there is a storm brewing throughout this entire fucking movie.
Yeah, lots of wind, which I'm sure was really fun for that camera and crane.
Right, and all these actors who then had to hit the mark another 50 times when the camera falls over. Okay, who left the laundry out? Is this Halloween? These are all questions I have in my notes because it honestly looks like a Halloween movie more than a Friday the 13th.
It's because, this feels ripped out of the John Carpenter's original Halloween with that laundry scene. And I almost admire the shamelessness with which we are doing this. Yeah.
The gall.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even think this is a negative critique for me. I'm like why not? Like,
you know what? They did it better. John Carpenter can do it. Why can't we rip off John Carpenter?
Yeah, do it. Why not?
Do it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say introduced in scare quotes to husband Harold, who is played by Steve Susskind, and he is sticking a pole in our face as his very bitchy, complainy wife, Edna, who is played by Cherry Moggins, bitchily complains and watches the news about the murders. Because don't forget, folks, all of these movies take place back to back to back, so it's been about one day.
So this is Saturday the 14th and not Friday the 13th.
Yeah, more or less.
But fun fact, the news anchor in this news bulletin is director Steve Miner in a cameo.
Oh, really? That's fun. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we do get to see Ginny being carried away in a gurney, presumably to some kind of mental institution.
On the news. On the news.
On the news,
okay,
yes.
Yeah.
And Edna mistakes Jason, who, as you mentioned, is played by Richard Brooker. She thinks that is her husband who's just out not taking in the laundry. So, not gonna lie, Edna, doesn't start this movie off in the best of impressions because she is the nag wife. And I found it a little insufferable.
Oh, I mean, it is insufferable, but I think it's hilarious. I wrote in my notes, we don't meet the main cast of this movie until 16 minutes into the runtime because
it's way too long.
It is way too long. And again, why are we opening up with these two quote unquote characters who we'll never see again because they get killed? Like,
it's just an opening kill, but
yeah,
the sequence is so long. It feels like it takes up a quarter of the film's runtime.
Yeah, it really is. But here's the thing. I do find Edna very entertaining. Like, I can see how anyone would find her really obnoxious.
No, she's a shrew, and I hate her. I was just like, what man wrote this?
But that's why it's so good when she gets a knitting needle through the back of her head coming out of her mouth.
Oh my God, sure. Okay, so before we get that, we have Harold sampling the entire inventory of the store. Don't shop here, folks, because whatever you're purchasing, he has already sampled.
Also, this is a bunch of produce that they are not like covering up appropriately. No. Like this is just like there should be flies all over this shit.
It's out in the open. There are rabbits. It's very country bumpkin. Yeah. So he keeps getting yelled at by Edna. They're kind of missing each other. There are two ships passing in the night, and then he ends up heading to the garage, and he's taking the rabbit back to the cage, and this is where we get a 3D snake jump scare.
I did appreciate this.
It's kind of fun.
I mean, the snake looks very fake, but yeah,
sure.
The problem is any of these things, you can always see the wire that's moving them.
Question though, do you think we can always see the wire because we have better definition and these discs have been like souped up?
Honestly, entirely. I mean, we have to go look at an old VHS tape to really compare, but I think you're probably correct.
Yeah, because I was definitely, I think I messaged you at one point and I said, the image is surprisingly crisp. And then you said, oh, just wait, because it goes sort of in and out in terms of quality. But there are times where the quality is really good and you think, oh, well, I can see everything now.
Yeah. I mean, there are times where it looks so crisp and clean. And then other times where it's like, oh, is there Vaseline on the filter?
Yeah, like you mentioned, try reading any of the tags in this store in terms of pricing or descriptions of like what produce or the cans and that kind of stuff. And folks, if you can squint and you will not be able to read it. If you don't know what the product is, it's just a blur.
I guess that should tell you something, though. In that scene where I should be watching the characters, I was trying to read the grocery signs.
Wow. It's an interesting location because I wrote convenience store. This could just be the equivalent of like a dépanneur or something like that, where, this is the last outlet if you can't get all the way back to town and they're going to charge you a ridiculous price for convenience sake, right? But it was like, this is so odd. Like, who's shopping here? Because there are no other people in this film. Like, we stop in a suburban location to pick up one of the characters, and then the rest of the film is out here in the country, but there's no other people that the cast interacts with.
Yeah, because in the first movie, they meet in like that little kind of town near Crystal Lake. And in the second movie, they do go to a bar, but we don't like get new characters when we go there.
No. And here it's like the kids at the lake, this couple, and then our biker gang. That's it.
And the biker gang only exists because we need to kill someone in the first hour of this movie.
Right. And also we need someone to take the gas out so that we can get to Chekhov's collapsing bridge that doesn't fucking collapse.
Okay, but I actually do like that the siphoning gas does come into play. Like,
sure.
I don't think it was an intentional, like, metatextual commentary on, like, oh, yeah, this is very tropey. Like, she runs out of gas. But I like that it's like, oh, yeah, this is why she runs out of gas.
Yeah, it's not just, the car magically breaks down because we needed to break down so Jason can get her.
Exactly. So, there was some thought put in on that.
Some thought, yes. Okay, so, Trace, we hear a man take a shit in this movie.
Oh, I mean, this franchise isn't really shy about its pooping.
I guess I'm just, like, I know because I have listened to all of Kill by Kill's coverage of this, and they went into these films in such great detail. I think that's maybe part of the reason I thought I had seen this, or I remembered certain sequences, even though I perhaps haven't seen this film, or haven't seen it in several decades.
Right.
But I remember Patrick going off on this character taking a shit seemingly in a bathroom that is directly attached to this establishment, but I did not expect to actually hear
plops,
feces hitting the back of the bowl in this movie.
I'm wondering if you're thinking about this one, because the other big famous shit scene in this franchise is, I want to say part 5, A New Beginning, where Miguel Nunez Jr. Goes to take a shit because he had really bad enchiladas, and he won't stop talking about the enchiladas, and he gets killed in the outhouse.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? They were ripping off this movie. Oh, actually, that makes sense, though, because do you know who wrote Part 5? The same people who wrote this one.
There we go. Okay, so they have a screenwriter kind of trait, or it's like when a director does a cameo, or, you know, Quentin Tarantino puts a foot in or something like that, right?
It's a calling card. But I didn't really emphasize this very much in the production, but I do like that it's a husband and wife writing team.
It's kind of fun. I wish I could say more positive things about the writing, but yeah. Anyway, okay, so he takes a shit and then he hears stuff, so he gets up and he does not wash his hands, which means this man dies with poopy hands.
Yeah, he does.
But he gets stabbed in the chest with a cleaver. And I did want to say, I know that there's a featurette about the costumes, or like there's a costume designer on the featurette, and she talks about it's just a bit of a nightmare to do costumes for a horror movie because it's so hard to wash the blood out. You have to have so many copies and so on. I appreciate all that. I just also would have appreciated not being able to see the pad that protects the actor, because it is so square and evident under his shirt. You can see him walking around and it's like, oh, well, that I can see it. Yeah. It's very obvious.
That's, I mean, truthfully, I think that's also just kind of, I mean, obviously, that to me is kind of part of this movie's charm. Like, it's like you're seeing through the seams of
it's a little lo-fi.
Yeah, right? Very low. And again, but that's what these films were, and that's why critics didn't like them. It wasn't just, oh, they're killing people movies. Like, it's also, they're poorly made.
They're sort of shoddily made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he's dead, and then Edna goes looking for him. She gets startled by a rat, and then she gets stabbed with her missing knitting needle, because, of course, we noticed that she was missing it. Where could it be? Oh, look, it's through her head.
Which, again, I just think about Halloween 2, because that movie kind of opens with Michael Myers walking around town. He walks into an old couple's house, and, he takes someone's butcher knife, and she notices it, you know?
Right, yeah. I wrote in my notes, this is all meh, if only because I just don't feel like this has enough of a wow factor for how long we have spent on this.
Well, that's the thing. We're at the 15-minute mark, and we still haven't met our cast.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit of a problem if it's not more bombastic and exciting, because part of me thought, okay, yeah, you obviously want to open your slasher film with a kill, but the lead up to this isn't tense enough. There isn't a chase. It's just not quite exciting, and I feel like you could have just dialed it back and then maybe given us a couple more minutes with our actual cast.
Well, and it doesn't top the opening of 2, which again kills the final girl from the first movie.
Yeah, which is tough if you don't have, a final girl to carry over and kill again or something like that. But yeah, this is fine. It's just not hitting the same high.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So cut to a 3D bat, because we've got kids playing ball in the street. Ooh. And then a van drives up, and it is being driven by Chris, who, as you mentioned, is played by Dana Kimmel. And we have a couple in the van as well. So we have Andy, who is played by Jeffrey Rogers, cutie patootie.
So cute.
As well as Debbie, who is Tracy Savage, and probably among the best actors. I would say Chris and Debbie are probably the strongest actors of the bunch.
Yeah, before rewatch, and I've seen this movie several times, but again, I kind of forget most of it every time, because who can with these movies? But I remember being like, I remember really liking Andy and Debbie's romance. And the funny thing is, rewatching it, I was like, they don't really have much to do. They're just trying to fuck the whole time.
Yeah.
But I do think that they have a natural chemistry that I find endearing. And I think
I would agree.
Yeah. Ultimately, I genuinely I think the reason I like 3 a lot, even though on a script level, there's not a lot going on here, I just really like the kids in this movie. And we'll talk about them as we start introducing them. But I really do like the kids in this movie, because I think a Friday movie, lives and dies on its cast.
Sure. I will say I didn't always believe that they were a cohesive friend group, but I'm mostly pointing at Chuck and Chili, who look like the adult supervisors of this teenage friend group.
I mean, Chuck and Chili, I always forget they're in this movie.
Well, they don't need to be in this movie.
No.
That's part of the problem. They have no reason to be here apart from we need stoners in this group. But even that doesn't really come into play.
No, except that they're stoners and they die. So there you go.
Yeah, it's not enough characterization for me. No. So whenever they're on screen, I just think, why are you here?
Well,
like, they don't even seem to interact with the rest of the group except for the one scene where they think they're going to get pulled over by the cops.
And I think that's why, we're saying, we don't kill any of these kids until an hour in. I'm like, wow, that's cool. We have a lot of time to spend with these kids, but we don't.
Why don't we
have
know
a lot
more
of time
about them
to spend
then?
with these kids. That's the thing. Like, we have an hour. We should have an hour with them, but by virtue of, again, this opening sequence, we have 45 minutes with these kids. And even then, because we're dividing screen time between the kids and the biker gang and then whatever Chris is doing, like, we just don't spend that much time with them.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit of a problem. And again, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who are going to say, it's a Friday the 13th film. Take it down a notch. It's not that serious. And I do agree. But also, I guess when you say something like, oh, well, I like these kids, I go, I don't mind them. I don't feel a strong affinity for most of them because I just don't know them.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that the cast chemistry works really well together. It's a very cohesive group that is done by the actors' performances, not by the writing they are given.
Yeah. And as you said, because of the 3D technology, there was so much downtime. Apparently, they did just get to spend a lot of time hanging around. So I think some of that maybe natural chemistry is what you're seeing on screen, too.
Exactly. And so, would I have liked the film itself to have done more of the heavy lifting in that department? Sure, absolutely. Sure. But I think that the actors themselves, well, actors, quote unquote,
ouch,
do a good enough job for me.
Sure. Okay. So I will say, I could very easily identify that there was one character that many people were probably going to have an issue with, and that is Shelly, who is played by Larry Zerner, and it's because he is the prankster. So I don't know that it's a stereotypical trait for a Friday the 13th to always have a character kind of like this, but this does feel like we have seen these kinds of characters before. They exist to introduce fake scares, to create just a little tiny bit of conflict. I honestly kind of felt bad for Zerner because that is his primary function apart from trying to get with Vera, who is played by Catherine Parks. And I liked Shelly quite a lot when he was interacting with Vera, and I didn't like him at all when he was just doing his stupid pranks and then saying, oh, why are you guys getting mad? I didn't mean for anything. And I was like, no, Shelly, you know you're being an asshole and you just keep doing this. Yeah. Like by the time he does the water gag on Vera at the dock, I was like, Shelly, what the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, you know you shouldn't be acting this way.
For sure, but I also think I think that Shelly is the best served by this screenplay.
Okay, I'm not elaborate on that.
Just because I think with the there's a moment later, where he's telling Vera, I do this because I want people to like me, and she's like, dude, like this isn't working for you. Like we get kind of an inner look at Shelly's mind. In
he's got an inferiority complex. He doesn't feel very good about himself, and again, those are the moments that I really like. But then we have to continue doing the stupid fucking pranks.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Shelly is not a fan favorite character by any means. A lot of people do hate Shelly. And I just have never understood that.
You're like, I feel sympathy for this character because I know how much people hate him.
Because I do like Shelly. Look, are his pranks annoying? Yes. But he has like three big ones. He has the accent that we get right now, which I think would be a bigger issue. Like I would hate this if he was doing this after people started dying. Like that would be more. But he doesn't do that right now, so whatever. The water thing, that's pretty fucked up. But he feels rejected. I'm not saying it justifies his prank, but I get why he's doing this. And so I don't know. I always feel like the fandom have been unfair to Shelly. Shelly is the character I latch onto the most in this movie because he's given the most characterization.
That is fair. He's definitely, if you say, oh, this is the movie with Shelly in it, people are probably more apt to remember part 3.
Yeah, I really do like his chemistry with Catherine Parks, even though it's to the point where when she dies, I actually feel really bad because I'm like, oh, it seems like you were finally making some I don't know if you were going to start dating Shelly, but again, I like your rapport
Right. They were developing a friendship, or you could understand that maybe it could turn into something eventually.
Yeah. And so we don't ever get that. And the film doesn't really indicate that was the plan ever. But I don't know. Like because it's given the most attention compared to everything else in the film, I like this. I like these characters. I like their relationship. And I don't think Shelly is as bad as the fandom makes him out to be.
Yeah, I didn't find him insufferable. It was just more when it feels like that's the only thing that they're giving him, and I'm getting morsels of other characterization. I recognize, again, this is a movie that takes place over about 24 hours, maybe even less than that, because I don't think anybody actually sleeps. So I'm probably asking for too much character development or growth, but it felt like there was room to take the character into somewhere new, maybe more emotionally vulnerable. Again, I'm also recognizing this is a Friday the 13th film. That's not really what they're known for. But I think it's that it seemed like it was headed there. And then when we do more pranks, I was like, oh my God, folks, come on. You don't need that character to do this anymore.
I know. And I should have put together a list of like other like horror prankster characters where it's like, who's the most annoying character in like horror movies? And there are, off the top of my head, I cannot think of one right now because I'm on the spot, but like, I know there are worse, more insufferable prankster characters out there in horror canon.
Okay. I mean, yeah, folks, hit us up with your list of most annoying slasher characters. Here's the thing. I feel like what we'll end up getting is a bunch of chauvinistic pigs. Like, I'm thinking of the Friday remake where we've got the guy who's all about the boobs. That character sucks.
Actually, I just did a quick look. I was like, someone said, Micah from Paranormal Activity.
I mean, that's just a shitty... Here's the thing.
Husband.
I think we need to differentiate between annoying characters and just shitty men.
Yeah,
because if we're doing a shitty men list, it's most horror films. Okay, so I did mention Vera. I do want to uncomfortably acknowledge that she is, I think, meant to be a white passing Latina in this movie. Catherine Parks, as far as I can tell, is not. So this is just some weird casting.
Possibly, yeah. I'm looking at, but she was born in Orlando, Florida, but it doesn't. I mean, her parents may have Hispanic in them, but still, yeah, I don't know.
Also, she was apparently in Looker, that Michael Crichton adaptation where it's all peach and taupes.
Oh, she's also in Weekend at Bernie's.
Interesting.
That's about it.
I like Vera as well.
I do too. I really do too.
I will confess I'm confounded by this introduction, though. So, we pull up in the van. It's a suburban area. This is the only time we're going to be in a city in this entire film. And we've got her mom not wanting to let her out. And this is why I was uncomfortable with the racialized coding, because it feels like we're doing don't go out with your white friends. They're troublemakers. Or we've got an overprotective, sort of culturally specific mother here, and then nothing else informs this character. There's this is the only piece, and I just don't know why it's in here if we weren't going to do something with it.
Yeah, I'm lazy screenwriting. I don't know.
I guess so. I appreciate the effort to say, it's not just a group of white kids, because I think also we get into some pretty dicey racial depictions when we get to the biker gang. I was like, at least there's a white guy in this biker gang, so we're not just pitting the
blacks
suburban
against whites.
Yeah, because honestly, I was uncomfortable for a hot second.
For sure. But here's the thing, though. Fox, the female biker, is one of the most memorable characters in this franchise.
I like Fox a lot. I was sad that she dies so quickly and easily.
And off screen.
Oh, the off-screen kills.
Yeah. Friday the 13th, you should not be doing off-screen kills.
It honestly made me wonder if, because of the setup with the camera was so tricky, that some of this, it was just, we're burning daylight. We don't have the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we pick up Vera and we are headed out to this cottage on the lake. Yes, we have this moment where we think that the van is on fire, but that's just because Chuck and Chili are hotboxing the back. So David Timms and Rachel Howard. And yeah, I'm going to be cruel. And I know it's the 80s, but these two characters, these actors look at least a decade older than everyone else.
And I don't know why we don't kill them first, too. But...
yeah.
We also get these mentions, these vague mentions of something that happened to Chris, quote unquote, a long time ago at this lake spot. And in my mind, I was like, okay, yes, I remember Jason had attacked her. I was like, it was when she was a kid. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, and here's the thing. She definitely does say it was a while ago, but then when we are introduced to Rick, which is
the worst character in the movie.
I mean, also looking about 10 to 15 years older than Chris, which is a bit uncomfortable, but he just spends the entire film being like, you're so distant lately. Why don't you want to fuck me? I could have been fucking this other girl, and I'm here with you trying to make this work. And part of me was like, okay, so clearly something else is going on here. Like, this is her character arc or her relationship arc with him. And then when we get the reveal, it's so bizarre.
Well, because the reveal is not explicit, but it is heavily implied that Jason sexually assaulted Chris.
Yeah. And then there's also, I think you could also make a weird reading that it's not actually Jason, and that I initially took it as, I think her dad sexually assaulted her, and then her parents covered it up and lied to her because it seems like she makes up a monster in the woods, right? The only reason that I think you are correct and I am misguided is because obviously she recognizes Jason when the mask comes off.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, it's just super weird that it's like, oh yeah, I basically got raped in the woods by this creature after mom kicked me out of the house for coming home late. And then mom and dad told me to repress it. Yeah. And then we never really address it again.
Well, and then her entire arc with her de facto love interest, Rick, is, oh, why don't you want to fuck me? Mm-hmm. So, and here's the thing. This is not the franchise to handle a rape storyline with any kind of sensitivity. But do I think there's something interesting there and like a better film could work with?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit, kind of.
Yeah, I was shocked that this was in here because I truly thought it was just going to be, I nearly drowned at the lake last summer and I don't really want to go back there or something. And instead it's like, oh, that's dark.
And Dana Kimmel, who plays Chris, didn't really like the implication that Jason sexually assaulted Chris. So this was known when they were making the movie. This is what it was made to look like.
Okay.
But she thought it went too far. She also disagreed with director Steve Miner on what the character should be like. Like, he wanted someone more like Ginny, a daring girl, which is kind of why she fights back so much in that climax. But Dana Kimmel wanted someone who had more of a kind of purity. She wanted her portrayed as a positive character. I mean, I think because people also, again, they don't really like Chris as a final girl. I think ultimately this isn't Jenny. We want Jenny. Right. She is not Jenny. I think she fights back. I mean, she fights back a lot more than I remembered her fighting back in the climax of this film. Like, she has, I don't know, maybe she's this franchise's Julie James.
Right. Yeah, because she is a little bit sad for most of this film, which, if you know that she's dealing with a sexual assault and clearly has not gotten any kind of therapy and doesn't have anyone that has either believed her or she hasn't confided in her friend, she's just been living with this. She would definitely be acting this way. So I think it does track. And I agree with you. I think it's interesting, a little bit brave for a Friday the 13th film to include stuff like this in here, but it's hard to then critique the character for not being more of a final girl and more, rah, I'm going to beat this guy down. But I also agree with you. I think she does a pretty admirable job when push comes to shove. She's got a certain amount of ingenuity. She doesn't back down. It's not like she's crying in a corner the whole time. No. And she's really resourceful. She pulls that fucking knife out of Debbie's back to stab Jason's hand. I mean... Your friend's dead, so you might as well pull it out of them. But it was still a bit of a, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's rough. But I mean, yeah.
Okay, so we've now assembled everybody in the van. We're going to drive out. And this is where we learn that Debbie is secretly pregnant. It seems like Andy maybe doesn't know.
I guess. Sure. Whatever. I mean, we don't really bring it up again.
No, it's another one of these kind of Vera is Latina things where you're like, okay, we're going to mention it and then we're just going to immediately put it to the side. Okay, we get this funny bit where they think they're going to get pulled over by the cops and everybody has to do all the drugs. I like that Shelly was the one who doesn't want to do this because you would think he'd be a big stoner or something.
They're just eating the weed.
It's so gross. Not how it works, kids.
I think also, again, this is endearing me to the characters too, because I'm like, oh wow, y'all are all working together to eat this weed.
You're all quite dumb and you did not have a contingency plan. I do like this scene for the group because I think it's quite amusing. You're right. And of course, they're wrong. The cops are not onto them. They're actually going to the scene of the double murder that opened the film.
Yeah. That's why we have to have that double murder so they don't get pulled over with the cops.
No, that does not justify a 17-minute opening scene. Okay, so there is a very stupid scene, which I did not enjoy at all in this movie, where we nearly run over an unhoused harbinger man in the road. He's just arbitrarily sleeping. They don't understand why. He gets up. He has an eyeball that he thrusts at the camera. This eyeball looks like poop. It sucks. It is so unconvincing. I can't believe we didn't do a better job with this practical effect.
And this, we have to have this character because we killed Crazy Ralph off in the second movie. He was the Harbinger in both part 1 and part 2. And so it's like, again.
No, we don't need this character. That's what I'm saying. It's a dumb addition that you don't need.
I was being sarcastic, but I'm going back to that line from Frank Mancuso Jr. where he's like, well, we couldn't just repeat the same formula. And I'm like, but you are repeating the same formula.
Down to the character traits. Yeah. I think if you're going to bring this character in, you should do just something more with him, because this is lackluster Harbinger. He's basically insane, but we don't even understand why. Where did he get the eyeball from? Why is he lying in the middle of the road? He only exists to act quote unquote crazy, warn these kids, and then never come back. It's so pointless.
And I was like, the fact that he doesn't ever come back, it's like, okay, I guess. He seems like he's really close to their campground too.
Honestly, he feels like he's about 100 feet away.
Yeah.
Anyway, more important, I would say more productive for the story is the introduction of Chekhov's rickety-ass bridge, which is right near the cottage. And we see, okay, it's going to shake a bunch when you drive over it. It doesn't look very sturdy. It looks like it could fall. I got very excited, Trace. It's like, don't show me a bridge that's going to fall and then not have it fall. What do you mean it doesn't fall?
Hey, the tire falls a little bit into it.
Oh my God, only one.
They can't afford to destroy a bridge.
That's a big, it honestly is like, if we had the money, we would have done this, but also we couldn't, so we did it.
Yeah, because it would have been really cool if like the whole bridge collapsed and like the van fell, like while Jason had his hand on Chris's neck.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought that was going to be the climax of the movie. We trap him and then he falls in with the van and then we wash him away. It would have been great.
No.
Anyway, it doesn't
gotta go back to that barn, man.
Yeah, the barn is fine.
It's good, yeah.
Okay, so there is a person who's watching them, but it is not Jason. This would be Rick. Yeah, so we're introduced to her on-again, off-again, sexually aggressive, very passive-aggressive boyfriend, and he does not care about her trauma. He only wants to fuck her.
Like, he's trying to make out with her. She pushes him off, and he pulls out, did it just get cold in here? And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
There's only so many cold showers a guy can take. And then he insinuates that she's gained weight. And I just said, fuck this guy up. I want to see Jason murder this guy. And I wanted to have happened 5 minutes ago.
I think my jaw dropped when he goes, you've gained some weight.
Straight identifying members of the audience. If you think you're going to get fucked by saying someone has gained weight... Let me tell you, it's not going to work out in your favor.
Yeah, these are not the issues the male penis ponders, so.
Jesus, yeah. Okay, so Chris sees the barn door closing, but she doesn't have time to investigate because she has to show Debbie the hammock bed. Not going to lie, Trace. I love a hammock. I don't think I would ever attempt to have sex in one, though.
I wouldn't either. Again, that's the thing where it's like one step away from a waterbed.
Truly. When we see her and Andy going at it later, it does seem like they figured out a way to use the motion to their sexual advantage. Well, so maybe it's like better for straight folks.
I think it's because they're facing each other. So it's like, so every time he thrusts, it just swings the hammock instead of going down. I'm thinking about the physics of this too much. But yes, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I did appreciate that it looked a little inelegant to get out of after the fact. So I was like, okay, well, it's not like this hammock is impervious to, because here's the thing. Everybody has had experiences in a hammock where you try to get out of it or into it and it just rolls and dumps you onto the ground. Yeah, good times. Okay. More shit with Rick guilt-tripping Chris because he gave up a weekend that he could have spent with another girl. And he does this while baling or like raising hay up in the barn. And the only credit that I will give him is that he looks good without a shirt on.
Yeah, but man, also this guy should, well, no, because you wouldn't kill the asshole first. You would wait until later, because he is the last main character to die. But
and Chris would notice too quickly, unless he had have left when the battery in the VW Bug died, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna go a different way" or something. Like we could have sent him off on his own and killed him, and not had Chris realize until later. That would have been great.
But I think though, like this is my 2026 mindset coming in. It would have been nice to have Chris realize that he's a piece of shit before he died.
Right. Yeah, it truly does feel like she feels bad about not being able to give this guy what he wants. And you're just like, Chris, sweetie, you have low self-esteem because you are way better. She is hot.
Yes!
I mean, he's also hot, but he's treating her like shit and she can do better.
She can have any man she wants.
True. She could have Shelly. You know what?
She could have Shelly. Yeah.
Shelly's going to prank you, but at least he's not going to call you fat and tell you, oh, get over your trauma. Honestly, I was thinking so much about the first Scream where Tatum is like, Billy and his sexually frustrated penis don't deserve you. I was like, Rick and his sexually frustrated penis don't deserve you, Chris.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a Shelly prank where he falls out of the armoire with an axe in his head. This is obviously a prank. This is where he gets a little upset. He didn't mean to, make anybody mad at him. And you're just like, Shelly, get a clue, man. So Chris is again mentioning her vague trauma, and then Shelly goes into town with Vera for groceries. So let's introduce our biker gang.
Okay, wait, I'm sorry though, but we go to this shop in this town where they are playing the disco theme song over the loudspeakers.
Yeah. Hot Ice, Trace.
Hot Ice, yep. I'm surprised they didn't say it's this new band, Hot Ice.
They're so hot right now. No, I think you mean Hot Ice. Okay, so we have Fox, who is played by Gloria Charles. We have Ali, who is played by Nick Savage. And then we have Loco, who is our white member of the group, played by Kevin O'Brien. And I just read in my notes because I didn't know where this was going yet. This feels very Black people are scary.
Yep, very much. So I guess to your point, it is good, quote unquote, that we have a white guy in the mix. And he's also kind of the meanest one of the bunch.
He's definitely the one who doesn't make an impression. I can tell you that much.
Fox makes an impression with her limited screen time, but then Ali actually has the most screen time out of all of these guys. And I actually do like Ali.
I mean, we're not meant to really like him because he's presented in opposition to Shelly. He's definitely memorable, and then he comes back and he ends up helping to save Chris, but then we definitely get a Black person dying for the white protagonist, which, I mean, it's 82, but
it is 82. I also don't know how he comes back, because I thought that the first time he was dispatched, I was like,
he's so dead.
Yeah, he's very dead.
Very, very dead. Yeah. No, it's extremely convenient that he comes back at the end.
With no marks on his face, despite the fact that it seemed like Jason was just hacking into his head or his shoulder.
Yeah. No, this guy should have all kinds of cuts or bruises or just be fully dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we get the wallet 3D bit. It's fun. I mean, it's not super memorable. The idea that this poor actor had to do this more than 32 times sounds awful.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, if you hear, this was the hardest effect to get, don't you just wish it was a more fun effect than a wallet getting thrown at the screen?
That's the thing. I'm just like, I think that's my biggest issue with especially 3D films of this time, and I think to a lesser degree the 50s. I haven't watched enough of those to really know.
Right.
But it feels like especially in the 80s, 3D is synonymous with, like we're just thrusting things at the camera. It doesn't feel organic to the storytelling. We're just artificially finding things to chuck at the audience.
It's basically, look, do you want a movie that, one of those 4DX movies you would get at Disney World or Disneyland or Universal Studios? Like that I think is like the more fun, like gimmicky ride ones. Whereas
I want the William Castle experience.
Yes.
That's my big thing.
Exactly. As opposed to, let's say, the James Cameron Avatar experience, where it's like, no, you want to be immersed into the world. That's the point of the 3D for an Avatar, or that's what James Cameron thinks the point of 3D in Avatar is.
Whoa, coming for James Cameron, he will buy and sell you any island that you are on if you are not careful, sir.
But look, you see the difference though, right? Is it theme park 3D or is it movie 3D, cinema 3D? You know, and this
this is not immersive 3D where you are living in the film. It is, hey, are you gonna find it kind of cool if something pokes you in the eye every once in a while?
Exactly. So.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just it always feels a little
shallow,
desperate.
Oh yeah,
to me,
I can see that.
We haven't had a 3D gag in a while. What if Shelly throws his wallet at the camera? Anyway, so that's what he does, yeah. When we get outside, Shelly accidentally backs over all of the bikes with the car. So this is when he and Ali really get into a confrontation. Ali has a chain wrapped around his arm, so he punches out the windshield. He punches out the driver's side window. And this is where we nearly then run over Ali, and he promises he's going to get revenge.
I like this again for Shelly and Vera. This is a bonding moment for them because Shelly grows some balls, and he's like, "I'm going to get them back," and he does. And it was just a good bonding moment for Shelly and Vera. I like this.
True. Yeah, it's definitely misguided because you're sort of the only ones out here. So the idea that Ali is not going to find you, I think there's a whole other version of this movie where there's no Jason Voorhees. And it's actually just, we ran afoul of the wrong fucking people while we were out in the country. And now they're looking to fuck our shit up. Mm-hmm. We've seen that movie. It's called Eden Lake.
Oh, God. No, very different movie.
I can't. Folks, I love that movie, but I will
never watch it again.
Never watch it again.
Yeah.
Cannot. Okay, yeah. So we drive back to the cottage, except we're down a couple of windows in this VW bug. Are we meant to believe that this is Rick's car?
I think so,
because he seems very upset when they come back, and this is where he says he wants to leave, and Chris is like, no.
Yeah, no, this is very, very much meant to be Rick's car, but I mean, does it matter?
I guess not.
It just highlights how much of an asshole Rick is.
Yeah. I like the car, though. But anyway, I always wanted a bug, so... Okay, so back at camp, Andy is practicing his yo-yo in 3D, and then this is when Rick tries to bail. Chris asks him to stay. We once again maybe are seeing Jason hanging out in the barn. Jason spends a lot of time in the barn in this movie.
Loves the barn.
Andy and Debbie decide that they're going to go swimming because I'm actually not going to lie. I'm surprised that it's not a skinny dipping thing.
Well, yeah, because the one thing I think we are missing from this movie is someone getting killed in the lake.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we almost don't see somebody go into the lake until Debbie wades into the ankles. And of course, we had the canoe at the end.
Yeah.
But apart from that.
I'm not counting Vera like getting the harpoon in the eye. Like, she's not swimming, you know?
No. If anything, it almost looks like we don't want to put people into this lake because it's either hard to get the camera out there because it's so massive, or
it's gross.
It's gross. like swimming can often be gross. The bottom of a lake is not super clean.
No, apparently there were like tadpoles, mosquitoes, like creatures all in this. Like, this was not I don't think this was a regularly swimming lake. Like, I think they just got this spot because it definitely was not the same lake from parts 1 or part 2.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, okay, which has worse shooting conditions, this dirty-ass lake in California or the probably equally bug-infested New Jersey site?
I mean, it sounds like it was the California one.
Interesting. Okay, so this is when Fox and the others show up because they have followed them back here. She goes into the barn, Fox does, and she nearly falls headfirst onto a pitchfork. I think this is a better use of the 3D technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. I have to point out, though, because Loco, I think, stays outside to start siphoning the gas from the van.
Yes.
While he is smoking a cigarette.
Danger. Loco, you in danger, girl.
I mean, they call him Loco for a reason, I guess.
Truly, he has no self-preservation skills. Mm-hmm. So he goes into the barn and, sad face, Fox has already been killed. So her body is suspended and it has been speared through the neck with one of these like bale hay baling pitchforks. Yeah.
Yes.
Got there in the end. And
what are you trying to say?
Baling. One of those.
Hay bale,
the pointy parts.
A hay bale device.
Yeah. A device for the baling of the hays. So he gets it in the abdomen, and of course, because it's sticking out of him, he then has to walk towards the camera.
Yeah.
And then this leaves Ali to come in, and he battles with Jason, who now has a machete, and it seems like he gets killed. So for the immediate future, we think that all three of these bikers are now dead.
But I wrote in my... This is before I remember that he came back, because I really forgot that he came back. But I have in my notes, Jason beats him to the ground and hacks him with the machete.
Yes. Yeah. Unless Jason is just taking it out on the ground around his head, this dude is pulp.
Maybe he was holding the machete backwards, so he was hitting him with the dull part of the blade.
Sure. Yeah. Just gentle bruising around the eyes. Okay, so that night, Chris and Rick sit in the headlights of the Bug. I don't know exactly where they are, but when the batteries die, it takes them for fucking ever to walk back. So clearly they've driven some distance away.
And I get why we have to separate Chris from the group, because, again, we have to kill these other kids. But it's the thing where it's like, I do wish that we had more time with these kids together as a unit than what we get in this movie.
I think that's why I appreciate what you said about feeling the group chemistry, but really outside of the van sequence, we're not getting to see all of them interacting. I would have taken a bonfire at the edge of the water or something where it's just a little bit more of who are these people? How do they relate? Like, I think that's the reason I feel like Chuck and Chili don't belong in this film, because we see them introduced in the back of that van as they're smoking up. It gets everybody into trouble, high anxiety, and then they're just off doing their own thing for the rest of the film. And I was like, are they meant to be the chaperones? I genuinely have questions, because they don't seem to interact with the other cast members.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what they do, like, in this movie besides smoke. I guess, doesn't one of them cook food? Does Chili cook food?
One of them tries to cook popcorn. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, sure.
Why not?
Okay, yeah, so Chris and Rick are hanging out, and basically he's still doing his fucking passive-aggressive shit, like, how come you've been so cold to me? How come you're so withdrawn? So she starts to open up about the barriers that she has put up over the last couple of months. This is crosscut with Andy and Shelly juggling fruit in 3D, and then they eventually go to have sex in the hammock, and Shelly is propositioning Vera, but she gently lets him down.
I am a little sad that she shoots him down, but she's very... The way she does politely do it, which I do appreciate. It's not like a fuck no, dude. Like, it's just like a, this isn't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. I'm really sorry. But he takes this the wrong... I mean, he does not handle this the right way, because his response is to go prank her later.
It's tricky because, again, we have to remember this is their first time meeting. So they only just met this afternoon, and it is evening, but Shelly... It seemed as if everybody said, hey, you're single, Vera's going to be single, we're going to try to set the two of you up. So I read it as he went into this thinking that he had a chance with her. Like, and for Vera, this is just, I'm going to the cottage with a couple of friends for an overnight. Yeah,
if I remember correctly, though, when they first meet each other, I feel like you can see her see him, where it's just kind of like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, he doesn't.
It's the fat one.
Yeah, it's the fat one. He's a little bit shorter. Here's the thing. I actually think Shelly's quite cute.
No, he is. Also, I don't know if you know this, but the actor that plays him, Larry Zerner, he's like the lawyer that's involved with all of this right stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because on the featurette, he seemed very knowledgeable, quite eloquent. He seemed to have a lot of love for the franchise. I think that actually helped to endear me more to Shelly as a character.
Yeah, so anytime you see here's what's going on with the Friday the 13th rights, as explained by a lawyer, he's the lawyer.
He's the lawyer. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah. I love that. Because I think I knew that a member of the Friday the 13th, like one of the actors, became a lawyer after the fact, so that's so funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, back to the film. 50 minutes into this movie, Trace, and Chris finally reveals her, I put in my notes, goddamn trauma, and we get a flashback. I was pissed off because I didn't remember any of this.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that she just constantly is like, I'm just not really excited to go back to the lake. And I was like, what are we doing? Why are we dragging this out so much?
Yeah.
And then I felt like a total a-hole when you realize, oh, it's because she got sexually assaulted in the woods and no one believed her.
Well, it's because like, you wouldn't expect that to be in the plot of a Friday the 13th film. Like,
right.
Again, I go back to what I said. This is not the movie to be dealing with this kind of plot. Like, we don't need sexual trauma in a Friday the 13th film. As you said, I almost admire the film for trying to tackle it, but also we don't really do much. It could be any kind of trauma that happened at this lake, and it would have been fine. But
that's the thing. I thought it was going to be minor trauma, like, small m, not capital M.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it is, it's a choice that we have made in this movie. It's handled like I wasn't expecting us to actually get a flashback to this. And I think that it is handled in a mostly responsible way. So we see Jason grappling after her. We see that he has a knife, and then she admits it. She kind of blacks out, and then she woke up in her bed. And again, that's kind of why I thought that her dad was actually involved in this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how did she get back into her bed without her parents noticing? And then when she said, oh, and then my parents didn't believe me, I thought, is this like a boogeyman situation, but the boogeyman is actually daddy?
I mean, I think that's actually a really interesting narrative avenue to go down. It's just, we're not going to do that in this movie.
It's just not quite enough information.
And I remember when I saw this when I was younger, I just thought, oh, the trauma was she encountered Jason Voorhees, and this the mere sight of him. Yeah, that was the trauma. But watching this now, I was like, oh, wow, this is framed like a... we're not seeing any actual sexual violation here. It's just
he's grabbing at her, and also when she says things like, and then I just have a gap in my knowledge, but she's so clearly traumatized by it. It's not just, oh, I saw a spooky figure and, he ran after me. And sure, he does have a knife, so that's also very scary. But especially if you know how people experience, how sexual trauma manifests in people after the fact, I was like, oh, she's talking about she got attacked, she got raped, and then she repressed that shit.
Yeah, so again, I almost admire the film for doing this, and it doesn't even mishandle it because I don't think it really handles it, period.
Well, it is especially frustrating if you know that that's what they were going for, and then as more mature audiences, we can see that that's what they're going for, but we don't even have a moment where Rick says, wow, I should apologize to you for the way I've been acting, because he just kind of shrugs, and then the battery in the car dies and we realize, oh, we've got to walk back. Like, that's the extent that we handle this. And I just think, no, don't you want to have these characters say just another couple of things about it?
Yeah, exactly. But they don't, clearly.
They do not, no. Okay, so we're back at the cottage so that we can kill off all the rest of these people. So we have Chuck, the stoner, going out to the outhouse, and he thinks that Shelly is pranking him. Obviously, this is actually Jason, but psych, we don't kill him just yet. So we have Chuck and Shelly going to the barn, where they think they're going to give Shelly a dose of his own medicine, but psych, no one is in the barn. So, we're faking out. This is where Vera gets attacked by Shelly in the water. So again, it's like a triple fake out at this point.
Well, and I think it's really dumb too, because like the cut to Vera sitting on the dock is really abrupt from being in the barn with Shelly. And it's like, okay, well, we know that this can't be Jason grabbing her because we just saw Jason in the barn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say, I do think it still works as, a fake out, a bit of a cheap jump scare, but I was like, oh, it's actually it's a little creepy watching the hand come out of the water and grab her. I think this looks pretty atmospheric, all things considered.
It does. I mean, look, logistically, I'm kind of like, how did Shelly get in this water without her noticing, not make any ripples before he pulled? It doesn't make any sense. But I agree with you.
It would be, meet me down by the water in 20 minutes. I need to get a bunch of things prepared. Including
a reed that you can poke a hole in to use as an air tube.
It's pretty wild. Yeah. Unless that was just kind of hanging out somewhere. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. We suspend our disbelief. So this obviously doesn't go well. She gets not mad at him, but she tries to convince him, you don't need to do this kind of shit, but also I'm not fucking you, so you can stop.
I know, but we get this exchange, and she's like, why do you do these stupid things? And his reply is, I just want you to like me. And she says, I do like you, but not when you act like a jerk. And again, this is, I mean, look, this is not, again, high-quality screenwriting, but it's giving you something. And
the actors are selling it.
Yeah, and I think it's like, oh, cool, they're making progress. But unfortunately, like, this is the end of their conversation because he walks off with his hockey mask, and then she's going to die next.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes to the barn, and he's startled by, what exactly is this? Is this a fake deer head? Like something that you would have mounted on the wall?
Yeah, I thought it was like a cattle skull or something. Like, but it's strung up with what looks like fake cobwebs.
Okay. I will say there is a lot of very curious set design. Like, we've jumped over the part where Andy and Debbie are having sex in the hammock, but there's a bunch of just totally bizarre items. Like, it looks like there's a half indigenous kind of totem object on the dresser. It was very much like, oh yeah, if you wanted to do weird set design in an 80s slasher film, this film is going to give you a bunch to work with.
Yeah.
Between the cottage and the barn, there's just a bunch of weird shit happening. Anyway, yeah, so he gets startled by this fake out, and then we're back at the dock. This is where Vera drops the wallet.
Oh, but she was looking through the wallet, looked at a picture of, I want to say, Shelly with his parents, and she's looking at it like, oh, like, he's not that bad.
He's a person. He's not just an idiot prankster. And then she has to go into the water to recover the wallet, and this is where she sees Jason, and yeah, she gets shot in the eye with a harpoon.
So I do love this 3D effect. But this is the thing. So Shelly went off. He got scared by this thing. He sits on a bench on the porch, and this is when Jason kills him, slits his throat, and takes the hockey mask. But it's
off screen.
It's off screen. But then I think in the span of the film, there's like a full 5 or 6 minutes before we see Shelly's body, because he's not dead yet. And it's like, okay, but he had his throat slashed. So really, he would have
bled out. Like, it would be a geyser. We have seen people get their throats slit, and we spray the wall.
Yeah. But it is weird that, I guess because the intent is supposed to be that we're supposed to buy that maybe this is still Shelly holding the harpoon gun and it's not Jason, but...
Oh, I never thought that for a moment.
Maybe in 1982 you did, because you didn't know that Jason was a hockey mask wearing killer, but for me, I remember watching the first two Fridays and being like, where's the hockey mask?
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, where because we have only ever watched these films long after they have been publicly available, I remember so vividly looking at all of the box art for specifically the Friday the 13th. I remember this one because it's the knife coming through the shower curtain because it's meant to be the 3D effect.
Oh, yeah.
So I have always, and I think many people have always associated this franchise with the hockey mask.
Exactly. So I think that's why Shelly is pranking so much. You're supposed to be like, oh yeah, he's doing another prank with the harpoon gun. Blah, 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 blah.
Oops, he shot her in the eye. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I think you could also, we would call him an incel now, or one of these sort of sad boys, where he gets mad because she rejected him and then he shoots her in the eye. This is his villain origin story, except it's a Friday the 13th film, so obviously that's not.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the VHS box too, because on the back of the box, the image that I always remember,
which is it?
It's the image of Jason strangling Chris through the van when she's on the bridge.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. Jason has never met a piece of glass he doesn't want to try to break or put his hands around.
But yeah, so this harpoon kill is exactly at the 1 hour mark, and for the next 12 minutes, we'll be killing off this cast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
One after the other. So, okay, let's get to our psycho homage, because we've got Debbie showering off Andy's seed.
Yeah.
Just for you. I did that just for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so she's, obviously in the bathroom, showering, tits out. We've got the shower curtain. We can see somebody coming in. Oh, is it Jason? Is she about to get it? No, it's just Andy. By the way, I did not appreciate that he put his pants back on after sex. Just saying. I would have liked a bit more nudity.
I know. But regarding the psycho of it all, though, I actually do really appreciate that we don't kill her in the shower.
Me too.
Now, the funny thing is, though, we do kill someone in the shower in part 4, but it's a man.
Hey, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so he has only come in here to ask if she would like a post-sex beer, and she says yes, and then he leaves. We should note he's walking on his hands from this point on.
For no particular reason other than because he has to die in a handstand. That's why we're doing this. But
Trace, no, it's because he's so straight and so athletic. Hello.
I mean, look, I bet you he's real flexible and limber in the sack. Or, I'm sorry, in the hammock.
Have we mentioned how cute he is?
He's so
yes. Cute. Yeah, which is really the only reason I got mad that he put his pants on, because I, wanted to see a bit more skin, is what I'm saying.
It's 1982.
I do have in my notes, Debbie just keeps calling to him.
Oh, I know.
Andy! Andy! My God. Part of me was like, I hope everybody else is dead, because if I was in this cottage trying to do anything else and this bitch is just in the shower constantly calling for her boyfriend about the fucking beer.
Yeah.
Debbie, shut it.
Actually, fun fact too. So Rick's character's name was originally Derek, and the reason they changed it to Rick is because Chris has to yell for his name so many times in the end. They wanted a monosyllabic name.
Right. You don't want to have to say Derek.
It's too
Derek.
That split second is just too much time.
It's just eating up the runtime. By the way, we also padded the first 10 minutes. Okay, so Debbie is calling for Andy. He has already been dispatched because he got macheted in the dick. I did want to highlight this so brief. I wanted just a bit more, but there is a glorious moment where the camera is below the floor so that we can see him just before he gets this, and I loved it.
It's definitely a thing where you do want the shot of him getting hacked to be longer.
Yes.
But it is even though it's only for a second, it's still a really cool shot.
It was one of those things where I said, oh, you didn't have to do that. I fully just expected, because we can see Jason standing in front of him with the machete, but then we cut to his position under the floor so that we can really get a sense of, oh, this is about to happen. You could have just had Jason stand in front of Andy, and then we see the knife start to cut down, and we know. So I appreciated that they went this extra mile to give us a really cool shot.
Yeah. We have a plexiglass top on to act as the floor. It's just really cool. It reminds me. I mean, I'm sure lots of movies have done this, but I go back to What Lies Beneath.
Yes. Yeah. It's just deeply ironic because Jen and I are covering a very early black and white silent Alfred Hitchcock movie from 1927 that uses this trick. Glass floor.
Look at that. 100 years ago.
Yep. And by the way, the main actor of that is queer, so I put it on our list and we're going to cover it someday. It's called The Lodger from 1927.
All right. I look forward to it.
I bet you don't, but that's fine. Okay, so Debbie doesn't realize that her boyfriend has been cut from balls to sternum, so she just goes back to the hammock. Of course, she reads a Fangoria magazine, which was very fun.
I did think that was really fun.
And then she gets baconed in the hammock, so she gets stabbed right through the neck.
But she actually, so blood starts dropping on the page of this Fangoria magazine.
Yes.
A magazine this girl would totally be reading, by the way.
Why not? You don't know Debbie.
I don't think Debbie is into horror movies, but
I disagree. I think that you are overlooking the fact that more than half of the audience for horror movies are women.
I get that. I don't think.
I think you just made a significantly gendered.
No, I did not. No,
you 100%
based on the characterization we have for Debbie in this movie, which is not much. I don't think she. But anyway, my point.
I don't think you have the information to support that. I'm just saying.
No one has the information to support anything about these characters
because they're not characters. Yeah. Okay. So blood is dripping on her. Why?
It's dripping clearly from above her, and she actually says, "Where's this coming from?"
And then she looks up and her badly contorted and mutilated boyfriend is just suspended on a beam above her.
Yeah.
Girl, that's where.
Yeah. But she definitely gets Kevin banged. There is, I really, really love in 80s movies where something pierces the skin and you can see the skin tear.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. And that happens here when this knife goes through her chest. It's just really cool looking.
Yeah. And gentle reminder, folks, this is our pregnant character. Sure, we haven't addressed it since she said it in the band, but
she's definitely pregnant.
She's definitely pregnant, and we just killed her.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. Okay, so let's head down to the kitchen where Chuck is making 3D popcorn. Again, This is not a good reason to use 3D.
Yeah, we haven't had an effect in a while, I guess.
This is true. Well, one could argue we just saw Debbie get killed in 3D, or I assume we would, right? Because we would have seen it coming towards us.
But
Maybe?
we weren't positioned above Debbie, so the knife would have been coming out of the screen.
Right. Okay.
I know, you gotta think about those angles.
It's all about the angles. So this is as Chris and Rick are walking back. The lights go out in the cottage, so Chili sends Chuck down into the basement to check the fuses. He gets scared by a taxidermied skunk.
Okay, but this dirty hippie is barefoot, walking around this nasty-ass, wet, dirty basement.
What's her problem? It's a dirty hippie in a dirty basement,
It
according
really
to you.
is. Oh my god, it's so gross. I was like, man, it's so unsanitary.
I love that this is the thing that you're going to get stuck on. Not like what was at the bottom of the lake when Shelly was down there hiding under the water, or the fact that that whole barn is just a tetanus shot waiting to happen.
I do not think about the bottoms of lakes, because if I am ever in a lake, I literally, if I don't know how deep it is, I am like pulling my feet, like my knees are in my chest, because I don't want to touch the bottom of the lake.
Oh, the algae. It's so green and slimy.
I have swam in many a lake.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like touching the lake bottom. I hate it so much.
It's very fair. Yeah. It's generally an unpleasant feeling. Okay, so 3D popcorn, lights go out. Chuck goes into the basement to check the fuses. He does manage to get them turned on, but only because his body has been slammed into the breaker box. So goodbye, Chuck. Of course, Chili doesn't understand what has happened, so she's just like, yay! Oh wait, how come the lights are flashing? But she's also getting very distracted because she opens the door and there is Shelly with his slit neck. And it's very The Boy Who Cried Wolf, because she thinks this is just another prank. I did kind of like this as a not quite satisfying payoff to all of the pranks, but it does work within the world of the film. Of course, Chili would think that this is just another one.
It's totally fine. But when she finally realizes that Shelly is dead, I actually love this. She walks around, I want to say, every square foot of this cabin.
Oh, she does a full lap. Yeah. Where is everybody?
She's like, guys, Shelly's dead, guys. And she's like going up this spiral staircase, going through. Oh, no bodies. Oh, so she's basically getting the final girl, like, discover all the bodies moment, but she's not the final girl.
So I literally wrote that in my notes. I was like, oh, she's just wandering around. She finds all these things. She's very suspicious. She's calling. It's very Jess from Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it doesn't help her because she just gets stabbed in the tum-tum with this heated fire poker. This would hurt. This would really hurt.
This would definitely hurt. And she would not die immediately like she does in this movie. Like she would, any stomach wound would really, really, really hurt.
Question though, because this is super heated, would it cauterize the wounds?
I would think so, yeah.
She could survive this.
She could survive it, yeah, actually. But anyway, so this is minute 72. Our entire main cast, save for Rick and Chris, are dead.
Yeah, and I put in my notes, we're down to our final two because Chris and Rick have returned and the house is very quiet. They assume that everybody has gone to bed, which is like, oh, you don't know your friends.
No.
Doesn't sound like them at all from what we know. Anyway, they go in. There's burnt popcorn on the stove. Chris is so unimpressed. Rick begins investigating without Chris because even though she told him, hey, I was sexually assaulted at this fucking cabin and I'm traumatized.
2 years ago.
Like, cool, that's great. Why don't you park your ass? I'm just going to go and leave you to go and investigate, even though you specifically said, wait for me.
But I will say, though, I was shocked that we kill him right now.
I loved it.
It's so good.
And
it's great.
I'm not going to lie. So my favorite, the best shot sequence in this entire movie for me, she comes out onto this porch and she's calling for him. He is just around the corner getting sexually embraced by Jason. Head squished, eyes 3D popped out. It's a great effect. It's, like, this is one of the all-timers. I think if you search for GIFs of this film, this is the one that always comes up. But I just love the framing of this where she is feet away from him. Mm-hmm. He's presented like a woman struggling valiantly against Jason Voorhees. And I loved it. It was so scary and beautifully framed.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. This is, maybe it's because and I'm not trying to come down on these movies too hard, but like there isn't a lot of inventive camera work or framing and mise-en-scène in the Friday the 13th movies. So when you get something like this, it really does stand out.
It truly, it made me sit up in my seat and I just said, oh, that is really well done. And the effect, is also super impressive. Like, do I think this looks incredibly convincing? No. But I think it looks fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good shot. Again, it's probably the best death scene. Well, see, I go back and forth between this and the handstand because I really do like the handstand, but I think if we saw the handstand better,
right, or if we saw two sides of a body fall in different directions or something. The thing that surprises me about Rick's death, apart from how satisfying it is, because I hated this fucking character, I couldn't believe we got this past the MPAA. This seems like the kind of thing that if this had been in a later Friday the 13th when they were really cracking down on things, this would have hit the cutting room floor. This would have been part 7 where, we only get the footage after the fact years later. Yeah,
I think you're right. I also wonder if maybe because it was 3D, and I'm assuming that critics were watching this in 3D, maybe
you think it went funny? It played funny?
I wonder if it went funny.
Because I will confess, I don't find it funny. I actually find it very upsetting.
Oh, yeah.
But I could see that they might say, oh, it's kind of Looney Tunes level of violence.
Yeah, even though it's all practically done, and it's not like, fucking drive me to hell cartoon CGI.
Literally just what I was thinking about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
We've been doing this for too long.
But meanwhile,
we just think of each other's thoughts.
So he gets killed, and Chris is like, I don't know what kind of game you guys are playing, but I don't like it. And she says to no one.
She says to no one except Loco's body that falls out of the tree at this point, which sends her running back into the house.
Why was his body in the tree?
I mean, Jason has so much time to just stack bodies in different places. Like, I get that you're trying to hide Andy's body. That totally made sense to me. But yeah, you literally had Loco's body in the barn. Why did you need to move it out to a tree? Was it just, oh, this will keep that girl from running too far?
I guess if the barn is Jason's home, he's trying to keep it tidy.
I mean, here's the thing. We're making fun of this, but we're also covering Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon on Patreon for our audio commentary this month. And, Leslie Vernon will give us an explanation for why you might do something ridiculous like this, because it's all part of the plan to control the environment and get the final girl to go in a direction you want and so on. So
the proto cabin in the woods, behind the woods, behind the mask.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so Chris is driven back into the house, and this is where she finds the tub is overflowing. There's bloody clothes, Loco's body outside. The windows and the doors are blowing open in this storm.
Okay. There are so many doors and windows that just blow open in this movie.
Truly. I tried not to go into a scary movie kind of place, but it was very, ooh, horsey, is that you?
It is, because she runs back inside, but like the door blows open. So she goes and she closes that. And then as soon as she closes the door, it's like
window.
The pressure in the room opens up the window.
Truly, when a door is closed, a window opens in the Friday the 13th Part 3 universe.
And I will say, because again, I didn't fully remember exactly how the climax went, except that I remember that people just really didn't like how passive Chris was. And so before we get into like the whole chase scene of it all, she closed this window, she closed this door because I keep opening, and then she's just like, Rick, help me! And I'm like, oh, this doesn't bode well for this character.
That's come on, girl. You don't need him to save you. Save yourself. I will say, I really like that we just hold for a beat on this window so that everybody can appreciate who's coming through that window. Is it going to be a body or is it going to be Jason? And the spoiler alert, folks, is that it's both, because it's Rick's body first and then Jason just fucking climbs in with his axe. And it's another great moment. Like from this point on, this movie is fucking cooking.
Oh, 100%. Like this is a two-hander of an ending, like, it's extended. Like I think it's like 20. Oh no, I have it in my notes. It is a 15-minute segment between this and Chris waking up in the boat in the lake.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think we talked in part 2 about how people don't discuss Ginny's final chase scene because it feels like it's broken up into a couple of different set pieces, but really it should be considered one extended chase. And it feels like we're doing a repeat of that here. I'm not mad about it, but I think that's the other reason people either forget about it or don't talk about it in the same way. But this is sustained. Sure, we're pausing so we can do some hand-to-hand combat and different things, but like from this point on, It is Chris versus Jason.
And the breaks here aren't like the breaks in part 2 because if I remember correctly, because Paul, the male character, the love interest in part 2 is still alive. So while Ginny is running and hiding, we are still having to cut back to Paul because he's alive. Whereas here, we have no one to come back to. So we are just with Chris all the way to the end.
Yeah. Okay, so Rick's body has come through this window, followed by Jason. So Chris runs upstairs. I really like that immediately she just kind of says, I gotta throw everything I've got at this guy, including a bookcase full of books.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, talk about the scary movie of it all.
Yeah. Throw, grandma, throw the bike, all the other fun stuff. Yeah. She ends up hiding in a closet. Of course, this is where we have hidden Debbie's body, very conveniently. So screaming, this does alert Jason to our location, but we do have a knife because the knife was in poor Debbie's back.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I think one of the best makeup effects in this movie is when she stabs Jason's hand, and you see this thing just go through the skin.
Yeah, it's really good because, of course, he just bursts into this closet and she stabs him there. She stabs him in the leg. I'm sorry. She walks out of this closet and, I love the way this is shot. She's just hacking away at the camera as we're moving back. It's really cool. I loved it. Yeah, this to me was how you used the 3D effect because this would be so fun, so exciting to watch. And also, it's a great moment for Chris because she is just giving it everything.
100%. So she's not very passive for the rest of this movie. She really rises to the occasion.
Yeah, I don't have it explicitly written in my notes what the next beat is, but she ends up moving away from him to try to get away, and he throws a knife at her, and it sticks in the door frame, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's fun. And so then she's like, shit, I'm upstairs. I got to get out. She has to go out the window, and I love this. She's hanging down, about to drop to the ground, and Jason's hand just comes down, grabs her jacket, and pulls her back up.
Yeah. And the only thing that really saves her, because she doesn't have a lot of leverage here, he's basically supporting her full weight, so she can't do much, basically, to beat his hand off. That sounded dirty. It's not meant to be dirty. Anyway, so I wrote in my notes, she's got this 1980s style H&M cheap ass jacket that just not convenient, it rips and she ends up falling to the ground. And that's the thing that saves her. Yeah. So folks, if you're going to go to a cottage where you think you might go up against a mass killer, you should wear your cheapest jacket in case you need to rip so you can fall out a window. Advice from Horror Queers to you. Okay, so Chris ends up hanging out. She's not going to try to run from Jason, so she strategically puts herself beside the door. When he comes out to pursue her, she whacks him in the back with a big piece of firewood.
I love this. Yeah, that was good.
He eats shit through the banister on the porch, which is great. And then this is where she hustles to the van. No pausing. Key, ignition. Fucking van won't start. She finally gets it going, and we nearly run Jason over on the side of the road. Love. And then she makes it all the way to Chekhov's rickety-ass bridge, and this is where we run out of gas.
Yeah, and again, I was like, oh, of course. And then I realized, okay, Jeff, in my notes, I have lowercase letters. She runs out of gas on the bridge, and then in all caps, because the bikers siphoned her gas!
Those bikers, it came back, those motherfuckers.
I was so proud of myself, being like, oh, look,
You got me, movie. You got me. Yeah, so Jason is there immediately. He totally bamps over, and he's got his arms through the open window, so he's choking her, and she's rolling up the windows to trap his arms as the van is about to fall through this rickety-ass bridge, but it's only one tire because we couldn't afford it.
I also I'm assuming this was a common thing in, I guess, bigger vehicles at the time, but the reserve gas tank, I was like, that's a great idea.
When in need. Flick that switch.
Just flip a switch. I truly have never seen that in a movie before.
I think it was definitely more commonplace. But yeah, nowadays, I guess you would just say, oh, well, that's probably taking up space. And or maybe it makes cars explode more because you just got all this extra gas.
Maybe.
Probably not. Okay, so Chris flees the van because she has Jason momentarily trapped. She goes to the barn. She barricades the door. She hides on a beam way high up off the ground. And I thought, okay, our girl is doing really, really good. Until Jason manages to find his way in. And then Trace, she just drops down on him like we're doing some kind of gymnastics routine. What is the plan here, Chris?
I don't know. I was like, why don't you just stay on this beam? He doesn't see you. He's not looking up. He's an idiot.
Or if you're going to do that, get a weapon so that when you fall down, you can maybe try to impale him or something. I was like, girl, I mean, sure, you got gravity working for you, but this is not enough because, spoiler alert, it's not enough.
No, yeah, he does not get knocked down by this. You did more damage to him with that piece of firewood.
Right, yeah. Luckily for her, she does not stay down long. She manages to grab a shovel, so now it is shovel versus machete. Shovel wins. And then she gets him up onto this top level, so the attic of the barn, which is where we previously impaled Fox. Of course, that's why we had the earlier scene with Rick lifting the hay and then her up into this. So we've got the rope there, so we throw the rope around Jason's neck, push him out, and we have hung him. We have done it.
She gets it done, man.
I literally wrote in my notes, well done, Chris. Okay, so now she just has to get this barrier off the front of the barn so that she can get out there. There is this fantastic moment because, of course, that's where he is hanging. So she opens the doors, the body is hanging there. You're waiting for the final scare. I did not expect him to just hoist himself up out of this noose and then playfully remove the mask as if to say, yo, bitch, I'm the person who sexually assaulted you. Do you recognize me?
Yeah.
This is a power move from Jason.
It feels like he recognizes her, right? Because he has no reason. He lifts his mask up to help get the noose off, but even once he gets off, he still is showing her his face, and it
feels like a grin.
100%. And so
it was the most characterization I feel like I've seen from Jason in so many movies.
It is.
This is a real these two are going to be adversaries moving forward.
Yeah, and it works. Even though it's from this ambiguous rape fantasy. Oh my god. This ambiguous rape flashback thing. But it at least gets the job done. I am invested at this point, and I'm like, Chris, girl, you better get it.
Yeah. Something's got to break. And I will confess, I was disappointed when Ali just kind of jumps in. He doesn't save her, to be clear. He buys her time with his death because this is how we use black characters in slasher films. So I don't know. Part of me was like, I wanted her to just continue this assault because she had been so fucking good up until this point. I was happy that Ali got to come back and maybe just do something a bit more, but then I got simultaneously super disappointed when he's just immediately killed.
Yeah.
But it does buy her enough time to get herself back into fight mode. And so this is how she's gonna kill him. So she axes him in the head. And of course, it's the same thing that we did with Loco, where because he's got the thing in him, he will just advance towards the camera for the 3D effect.
So this is a great shot, though. Yes, she gets the axe in his head, and we hold on Jason for a second, and then he Frankensteins his arms up. And I love this moment from Chris. Chris is in such disbelief that he is still moving, and she is just screaming at him, No!
Well, what more do you have to do to put this fucking guy down? She has killed him 3 different ways at this point.
And I find all of this so, because we haven't mentioned this yet, but the way Chris ends this movie is she is being hauled off to the loony bin, and I think that's actually that's a bold avenue for a slasher. It's like, oh yeah, your final girl, she just goes crazy, she's insane, and that's how she ends the movie.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't disagree if we hadn't seen it several times by this point, because I feel like that's implicitly where we're ending Black Christmas if Jess is not in fact dead. And I definitely feel that that's what we did with Sally in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yeah, it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But
we're not seeing them get carted away on a gurney or taken away by police and they're just completely out of it. But the implication is that all of these girls are irreparably fucked.
Yeah, I see it more in Texas. Because Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's no mistaking that. She has lost her mind. But I guess
that is mania at that point.
But then I guess, and oh boy, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. In this franchise, I think this is the only time we've had a final girl end like this.
Yeah, because Ginny is not okay, but she's not hysterical.
Yeah, she's just asking where Paul is, because we never know what happens to Paul in that movie.
Yeah, and then, of course, I mean, really, Alice gets kind of the same ending up to the dream.
But she's not ending the movie like,
Well, no, because she's getting pulled into the lake by Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah, but then she wakes up in the hospital, and she's like, oh, there was a boy in the lake.
I forgot that.
Oh,
I always thought that it just ended with...
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yes, Jason is down for the count. Chris runs out to the canoe so that she can put some distance between all of this and herself.
I wrote, bitch, go run for help.
I mean, it's definitely, again, Rise of Leslie Vernon, just run and keep running until you basically cannot run anymore, and then keep running some more. So, yeah, she wakes up, she's screaming in the canoe, but everything is actually okay. She gets, again, it's very horsey. She's startled by a log, and then a duck, and then, I mean, she is correctly scared when she thinks that she sees a blood-smeared Jason leering at her from the upstairs.
Okay.
This moment where he leaves the window and then you see him, he's clearly run down the stairs and is coming out the door. It has the energy of a 28-day/year later infected.
This is hands down one of my favorite moments in the franchise. When she looks up in that window at the barn and sees Jason see her. Mm-hmm. And when he sees her, he does like a jump, like a little giggle, like, oh, yeah.
And, you're still here. I can still get you.
And I love it. Yeah, we have to wait for him to get down the stairs so we're just waiting for him to come out this door.
Yeah.
It is so well done.
It's very scary.
Very scary. I really like this. Yeah, this is great.
Because we shouldn't. It's not like she's just sitting there watching him do this. She is desperately trying to paddle, but the canoe has gotten all fucked up in the logs and the water and that kind of stuff. So she's freaking out, and then she looks back and she realizes, no, it's fine. You imagine this. He is not there. There is no one chasing you. So naturally, we have to get one final scare where the decomposing body of Pamela Voorhees jumps out of the water, just like Junior Jason did in the end of the first film, and we pull Chris into the water. I was thankful that we don't end the film here.
Yeah.
So this is revealed to be a second fake out. Actually, the sheriff and a deputy are there to collect Chris. She is pretty fucked up. She's deeply hysterical. We put her into the back of a cruiser and then we drive away, and we end with the calm serenity of just the water. There's no violence here. Everything is fine again.
Oh, but there is like one ripple that happens in the water, which I'm sure wasn't intentional. It wasn't planned, but I like that.
It's
where
just
it's like
great.
Yeah, it just and then we fade to black and the movie's over.
Yeah. So I do think that the gimmickiness of the 3D can sometimes be a little bit cumbersome. I agree with you. The biggest deficiency for me is the characterization or the lack thereof, the wishing that there was just more time, again, in tried and true slasher formula way. I just wish that we had a bit more time with these people being people. But I appreciate that we never do that, because all of these producers think that if you actually give us characters, we're going to say, where's the gore, where's the kills? So we just cut all that good shit out.
Yeah. One final thing before we close out. So this is the third ending of this movie.
Oh, yes, that's right. There's multiple endings.
So basically, in every version, the ending is the same up until the point where Chris axes Jason in the head and goes to sleep.
Okay.
Then the script ending. She goes to the barn, discovers all of her friends' bodies. Okay, I guess maybe the original climax didn't take place in the barn. I don't know. Jason returns and she decapitates him with a sickle, but the producers thought this would be too definitive to killing Jason by actually seeing his head roll. So,
of course. So even though we planned it as a trilogy, we wanted to keep it open for a final chapter.
Mm-hmm. So then Pupesky, that script doctor they brought in, he devised the idea of having Chris wake up in the canoe. She thinks it's safe and she runs to the lodge and sees Rick, who the audience know is dead, inside the house. She runs to the door, opens it, and instead of Rick standing there, it's Jason, and he immediately decapitates her. But this is revealed to be a dream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the producers wanted to go back to the classic idea of Jason and having someone burst out of the water. And they also didn't like that in this ending, because his mask was off, they didn't like that you saw too much of Jason's face.
I mean,
Like, we already did see a lot of his face,
we've already
though.
seen a bunch of it, but
Yeah.
okay. I guess they don't want to give us too much by giving us a whole other scene with it.
Yeah, but they did film this, and it's really bothersome to me that that deleted scene of her getting decapitated is not, to my knowledge, in any physical media release of this movie.
Baffling. I wonder if we've lost it. So
Maybe.
maybe we shot it, but we don't have it anymore.
Possible. But yeah, so then that's...
Scream Factory truly found, I think, every nugget they could
I
when
think
they
so,
did
too.
that giant box set. So I wonder if it's just not available anymore.
Oh yeah, the out-of-print box set? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank God we've got ours.
We've got but yeah, so that's how we get the ending we got. And yeah, I again, grading on a Friday the 13th scale, this is not the best one. It's certainly not the worst one. I have a soft spot for this one for all the reasons I've detailed in this episode.
Sure. I will say the ending went way harder than I expected.
Oh yeah, ending rules. It's an all-timer for me.
Yeah, really solid.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, everyone. So before we announce what we're covering next week, some quick housekeeping. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want even more content, including ad-free main feed episodes, a new addition to our Patreon, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 467 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Psycho Killer, The Bride, ! Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, Scream 7, a new audio commentary on Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and our continued coverage of Mike Flanagan's The Haunting of Hill House on the requel tier.
Yeah, folks, we're inching towards that finale.
But Joe,
Yes.
what are we talking about next week?
Okay, well, you mentioned the sequel, so it's time for us to revisit Ready or Not, the Radio Silence Project with one Catherine Newton. And folks, this isn't us opening the Patreon vault, so we do have an episode on Patreon on the film, but we didn't do our usual in-depth coverage because, truthfully, I don't think anybody knew that was potentially going to get a sequel when it first came out.
It was also early in our tenure as podcast co-hosts.
That is true. So we're going to go back and we're going to give it the full Horror Queers treatment. So this will be a Redux episode.
Yeah,
Ready
brand new recording, maybe brand new thoughts. We'll see if we still feel the same.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm hoping, because I like the movie, but I don't love it. And I'm hoping I'm going to love it.
I hope I love the second one.
Ooh, I mean, don't threaten me with Catherine Newton and Samara Weaving in a single fucking movie.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar.
And Sean Hatosi. And
Elijah
Mr.
Wood.
Carbonell, Elijah Wood. Like, the cast is stacked.
I'm so excited, but until then, we can cross out Friday the 13th, Part 3. D.
Stop it. You make it sound like a piranha film. Yes, and cross out Horror Queers.